In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this, a classic RadioShack intercom thingy. It has the Archer brand on it. If you are old enough, you will remember the Archer brand at RadioShack.
Hey there, Breaker 19, Breaker 19. I got a Smoky on my 6.
It's coming up right now on Retro Hack Shack After Hours. Well, welcome back everybody to Retro Hack Shack After Hours. My name's Aaron. Here's my hand in front of the camera, and here's my face in front of the camera. I'm trying out this new auto face tracking thing, so you can see it kind of moving around there, I think. And if I go this way or this way, it kind of moves around. You can also see all my junk behind me that's sitting on the shelf back here, kind of waiting for me to do work on, and on the floor behind me too. But anyway, some of you have asked, why don't we see your face on the screen anymore? Well, here I am. Okay, so before I get started, I do want to say thank you to all my patrons. If you're a patron, thank you very much. Really appreciate all of your support because it keeps this channel running. And if you want to become a patron, go ahead. It only costs you, oh, there's my phone. It only costs you a couple bucks a month, and you get early access to videos and special videos from me. In fact, I think I'm going to put one out around how I use AI on the channel. Ooh, is this AI right now? Ooh. No, it's not. But it's around how I use, what I use AI for, because there is some AI tooling that I use in terms of like video editing and things like that. And then there's some ways that I don't use AI, like I am not AI and I will never be AI. But yeah, so if you want to see like that kind of special content, go over to Patreon, go over to Patreon, sign up, and happy to get your support over there. Anyway, enough of that. Let's take a look at this really cool, what I believe is an intercom. It says right here, transistor intercom, Archer transistor intercom. This one says remote, and then there's another one on the other side. You can see there's two of them here. And this one says master, and this one actually has a on-off switch and a volume. We turn it on, nothing happens. I'm assuming this takes batteries, and that even I don't know because it's taped up, and I didn't want to untape it until I did this video. So I really don't know anything else about it other than that and the fact that it's got a cord on here. So it's corded and not wireless, I assume. And I picked this up at a garage sale kind of thing. It's called the White Rabbit sale it might be Alameda. It's not across the river though. Okay, we're going to call it Oakland. We'll just be safe and call it Oakland. I don't know. Anyway, this is something I picked up there. It was like the last day of the sale or something. Everything was half off. And I just happened to see it. It said not tested to. So I asked about this. I think that's a dollar sign up there. I asked about this and they said, yeah, that's $2. So if you want it, it's $1. So I said, heck yeah, I'll take it. And might be something interesting to take a look at. Perhaps somebody on my channel will recognize this or have used it back in the day. Now, I will say that I did look this up in the RadioShack catalog just to try to get an idea for what time period it came from. I also saw some eBay listings that had this thing for, they said it was 1972, which kind of makes sense. But I saw pictures that were similar to this in the catalog. It ran for a long time, and it was anywhere between, the early 70s, like 1971, all the way up through, the mid 70s. They had models that kind of looked like this, but not exactly. And it was always very cheap, like 20 bucks at the most, right? I think it was even less than that, maybe $10 or $15. So yeah, really, really cheap. First thing we need to do is to go ahead and take off the tape and see if we can find out where to put a battery in this thing. So this green tape here actually doesn't leave too much residue. The traditional masking tape, especially if you leave it on too long, does leave some nasty residue on it, but you can get it off. It's no big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and unplug the cable for now. The cable, by the way, is a standard 3.5 mil stereo cable. At least this might not be the original cable, but that's what's plugged in here anyway. Who knows? I would have expected actually a mono cable, but maybe if there's some signal being passed between these, they needed a stereo, 2-channel kind of signal plus ground. I don't know, but we'll see. Looks like they're meant to be mounted because they have these keyhole things here. So definitely looks like they're meant to be mounted on something. And I think one of the ads even mentioned that these were to be used kind of as in like a trailer. It's kind of sketchy, actually, if you think about it, like a camper or something on the back of a truck. So you've got one of these things inside the cab in the front, and then you're passing a wire through somewhere to go to the back of the bed of the truck where the camper is, like what's inside that camper that you don't want to let out. I'm not sure. It seems a little creepy to me, but I think that was what was mentioned in one of the ads. So, but it could be used, if this works, it could be used for anything, right? It could be used as a home intercom if you want to run a long enough cable, I suppose. But anyway, let's see if we can figure out where to put the batteries in this thing. Okay, I do see a little thing here in the back, a little, what do you call it, a little groove here that looks like it's for, looks like someone's been prying on it, and it looks like it was put there on purpose. Yeah, this one is too. So maybe you actually, instead of having a little door, you actually have to pry this thing off to get it to go. All right, well, it was only $1, so let's see if that's correct. I don't know. Yeah, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, 9-volt battery, of course. Seems like everything back then was 9-volt battery. And what do we got on the inside here? Okay, so here's where you put the 9-volt battery up here where my thumb is. And then we've got a stereo that says Korea on it. It looks like an 8 ohm, I believe, maybe 0.2 watt. I don't have good eyes, so you guys will have to help me, or I'll be able to see this later when I'm editing. And yeah, just a bunch of through-hole components here. Lots of electrolytic capacitors and resistors and some other caps and things in here. I mean, there's not a ton going on here. We got some sort of a transformer up here, it looks like, some sort of a winding, and then some sort of a maybe perhaps modulation device down here. It looks all fairly simple to me. I don't see anything too complicated. I'm not an electronics expert, but I mean, this is about as simple a circuit probably as they could make, especially if they were only selling this for between $10 and $20. I think quality foam here. This hasn't fallen apart yet. It's not disintegrating like most foam is. That's really surprising. Okay, here's the other side. The other side, the first side was the master. This is the slave side, or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, there's like nothing in here, right? Except for that, you know, the same kind of like, I'm calling it a modulator. I don't know what that is. You guys will let me know down below. There's a cap there, and then some wires that run out to the speaker. Like literally not much in here at all. A lot less even than the master side, which had the volume control and all that kind of stuff built in. So yeah, not much at all. So it looks like don't need a battery for this side, right? I don't think so. So just one 9-volt battery in the master side does everything. Well, that makes kind of sense as to why they would need a stereo cable then, because they're probably actually sending voltage and whatever the voice signal is down that wire. So you've got ground, you've got 9 volts, I guess, going down there as well. And then you've got some sort of voice signal. So let me go grab a 9-volt battery, hook it up, and see if we can get it working.
All right, well, I got the battery installed now, and it's already making some interesting sounds. So I don't know if it's a good sign or a bad sign, but here's I've got it in the off position. I've got it clicked off, I think, but it still makes a sound. And it was making a higher pitch sound too sometimes. Oh, there it goes. There's a higher pitch sound and a lower pitch sound. I don't have the instruction manual for this, so I don't know how it works, but let's just go ahead and hook it up. Well, first let's turn on this one without hooking it up and see what happens. Okay, so it's on now and nothing's happening. Let me turn it back off. Connect both sides here. Okay. Made a weird sound when I plugged it in. Kind of like what the electrolytics isn't happy or something. Let's go ahead and turn it on and then push to talk. Hello? Hello? Is anybody there? Yeah, this actually totally is still working. Let me try the other side. This is so fun. Hey there. Hey there. Breaker 19, Breaker 19. I got a Smokey on my 6. I don't know if I can put these too close together so you can hear what it sounds like when I'm talking, but it just brings back so much joy from my childhood. Here we go. I'm going to try to do this again. Breaker 19. It's too funny. It's not funny, but it is funny because we used to go around saying this stuff all the time. Breaker 19. Why Breaker 19? Why was channel 19 the channel we chose? I don't know, but it was always Breaker 19. Are you ready to go out on the playground? Over. Stuff like that. We would have these walkie-talkies, you know, were very similar to this. And it sounds like I'm getting some, hello, hello, hello. Sounds like I'm getting some noise coming through the speaker when I just kind of rattle these around the bench. But anyway, Do you hear that? I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, they totally work. They totally do what they're supposed to do. And, you know what? Artemis just came back. And so we could do something like that. Let's try to do like an Artemis thing. Retro Hack Shack 9 to ground control. Roger, Retro Hack Shack. This is ground control. Yeah, ground control. We have a problem up here. Tough luck, Retro Hack Shack 1. You're on your own. Okay. All right. So this totally works. There's nothing wrong with them that I can see. You know, they work fine. I think that the application that they came up with for putting these in a camper with, I don't know, kids in the back seat. Is this for those big station wagons we used to have? So they were so big you couldn't talk to one another from the back to the front. I don't know. But these are delightful. I'm so glad I paid $1 for these things. I do want to try one thing just to kind of spice this up a little bit and see if I can add wireless capability from the modern age and get these to behave more like regular walkie-talkies. Okay, so my thought was, and I'm thinking better of this now, and I'll tell you why in a second, but my thought was I've got these Bluetooth transmitters, right, which I use these in the studio to hook up my speakers, which are way back on the back side of my bench back there. And I have two of them. One's a transmitter, one's a receiver. And this way I don't have to run a long cable back there every time I want to hook up something to play some sound on it on the channel. Well, I was thinking I could just hook these because they have a stereo, 3.5 mil connector here. I could just hook those up to one and hook the receiver up to the other. And at least that way I would have unidirectional wireless access from one to the other. But then I started thinking about that 9 volts, and probably I do not want to do that because that's probably going to send 9 volts into either the left or right channel here. We can go ahead and test for that just to make sure. And by the way, this, even though I'm not pushing to talk, this is on. That's why I'm hearing that echoing when I have both of these clunking around. You can see if I put it too close, it'll start to give some feedback. So this one's on, almost like, and I think this was the other use case for these was as a baby monitor. So this is on. If I drag my fingernail across the grill here, maybe you can tell. Here, I'll put this next to the mic. So yeah, so this is actually on all the time, it seems like. I don't know what the talk button does. What if I turn this off? Oh. Yeah, so you can actually, if this is off, you can actually buzz one another here with it in the off position. Very interesting. Okay, back to our test though. We want to test and see where the voltage is on this thing. See if we're getting 9 volts here. So I'm going to guess this outer ring at the back here is probably ground. Let's see what the middle ring is reading. Nothing. Let's see what the tip here is reading. Oh yeah, 8.4, 8.3, 8.4 volts. Yeah. So there's 8.4 volts on the tip here. And that is not something I want to put into my Bluetooth adapter. So I'm glad I actually did not try this out. All right, so that's it for today's show. Just a quick look at these intercom things. They're pretty cool. And let me know in the comments below if you can think of a use for this. This could be a great learning circuit. If I can reverse engineer it, perhaps people can build their own intercom device. Maybe kids would like to do that. I don't know. That's one idea I have. What ideas do you have for this old style 1970s RadioShack Archer thing? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for watching. And also check out one of these other videos I'm going to put up here in the camera. Let me know about that as well. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.
End of line.